Hello and greetings to everyone. We are to answer the following questions. It goes, write the following as a product of prime numbers raised to a given power. You can see for question A, we have 8 raised to the power 3 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 7 raised to the power 3 all over 5 raised to the power 3 times 7 raised to the power 5 times 2 raised to the power 6. Take solution. For question A, we have the number 8 raised to the power 3 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 7 raised to the power 3 all over 5 raised to the power 3 times 7 raised to the power 5 times 2 raised to the power 6. First, we know a prime number is a positive whole number that has only two positive factors, which are 1 and the number itself. Looking at this product, at the numerator here, you will see that we have 8 raised to the power 3. 8, which is at the base here, is not a prime number. We need to express it in index form with a prime number at the base. We know 2 is a prime factor of 8. You can write it as 2 times 4. 2 is a prime factor of 4. You can write this down as 2 times 2 times 2. In index form, this will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 3. 8 raised to the power 3 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 7 raised to the power 3 all over 5 raised to the power 3 times 7 raised to the power 5 times 2 raised to the power 6 will simply be equal to, 8 is simply 2 raised to the power 3. We're going to raise all this to the power 3 times 5 raised to the power 4. 5 is a prime number times 7 raised to the power 3. 7 is a prime number all over 5 raised to the power 3. 5 is a prime number times 7 raised to the power 5. 7 is a prime number times 2 raised to the power 6. 2 is a prime number. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 3 times 3 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 7 raised to the power 3 all over 5 raised to the power 3 times 7 raised to the power 5 times 2 raised to the power 6. And this will give us 2 raised to the power 3 times 3. This gives 9 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 7 raised to the power 3 all over 5 raised to the power 3 times 7 raised to the power 5 times 2 raised to the power 6. The next thing, we are going to make use of this law of indices, which says that if you have 1 over e raised to the power n, it's simply equal to e raised to the power negative n. We are going to apply it so as to bring up 5 raised to the power 3, 7 raised to the power 5, and 2 raised to the power 6 at the denominators. This will give us 2 raised to the power 9 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 7 raised to the power 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 times 7 raised to the power negative 5 times 2 raised to the power negative 6. This will simply be equal to, we are going to bring the numbers with the same base together. 2 raised to the power 9 times 2 raised to the power negative 6 times 5 raised to the power 4 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 times 7 raised to the power 3 times 7 raised to the power negative 5. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power, we are going to add the powers, 9 plus negative 6 times 5 raised to the power 4 plus negative 3 times 7 raised to the power 3 plus negative 5. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power, positive negative will stay, 9 minus 6 times 5 raised to the power, negative will stay, 4 minus 3 times 7 raised to the power 3 minus 5. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 9 minus 6 gives us 3 times 5 raised to the power 4 minus 3 gives us 1 times 7 raised to the power 3 minus 5 gives us negative 2. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 3 times, we know 5 raised to the power 1 is simply 5, times 7 raised to the power negative 2 is simply equal to 1 over 7 squared. This will give us 2 raised to the power 3 times 5 all over 7 raised to the power 2. This is our final answer. Question A. We go now to question B. For B we have 3 raised to the power 4 times 2 raised to the power negative 3 all this cube all over 9 raised to the power negative 1 times 2 raised to the power 2 all this raised to the power 4. We know that from the laws of indices, if we have A times B, all this raised to the power n is simply equal to A raised to the power n times B raised to the power n. If we look at the numbers in index form, if we check their bases, 3 is a prime number, 2 is a prime number, 9 here is not a prime number, 2 is a prime number. We need to express 9 in index form with a prime number at the base. We know 3 is a prime factor of 9. 9 is equal to 3 times 3, which is simply equal to 3 squared. 9 raised to the power negative 1 is simply equal to 3 squared, all this raised to the power negative 1. And this will be equal to 3 raised to the power 2 times negative 1, which is simply equal to 3 raised to the power negative 2. We are going to insert them here. It simply means 3 raised to the power 4 times 2 raised to the power negative 3, all this cube all over 9 raised to the power negative 1 times 2 raised to the power 2, all this raised to the power 4 will simply be equal to, we are going to open up things here. This will give us 3 raised to the power 4, all this cube times 2 raised to the power negative 3, all this cube all over, we know 9 raised to the power negative 1 is simply 3 raised to the power negative 2, 3 raised to the power negative 2 times 3 times 2 raised to the power 2, all this raised to the fourth power. This will simply be equal to 3 raised to the power 4 times 3 times 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 3 all over, here we are going to expand 3 raised to the power negative 2, all this raised to the power 4, we are applying this, times 2 raised to the power 2, all this raised to the power 4. This will simply be equal to 3 raised to the power 4 times 3 gives us 12 times 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 3 gives us negative 9 all over 3 raised to the power negative 2 times 4 times 2 raised to the power 2 times 4. This will simply be equal to 3 raised to the power 12 times 2 raised to the power negative 9 all over 3 raised to the power negative 2 times 4 gives us negative 8 times 2 raised to the power 2 times 4 gives us 8. This will simply be equal to, if we have 1, we know 1 over e raised to the power n is equal to e raised to the power negative n. Now, if n is equal to negative m, we are going to replace it here. 1 over e raised to the power negative n will simply be equal to e raised to the power negative m. We know negative gives us positive, so this will simply be equal to e raised to the power m. It simply means 3 raised to the power negative 8, when it goes up, gives us 3 raised to the power positive 8. So this will give us 3 raised to the power 12 times 3 raised to the power 8 all over 2 raised to the power negative 9. When it goes down, by applying this, it gives us 2 raised to the power 9 at the denominator. So gives us 2 raised to the power 9 times 2 raised to the power 8. This will simply be equal to, we are going to apply the laws of indices. E raised to the power n times e raised to the power n is simply equal to e raised to the power n plus m. This will give us 3 raised to the power 12 plus 8 all over 2 raised to the power 9 plus 8. This will simply be equal to 3 raised to the power 12 plus 8 gives us 20 all over 2 raised to the power 9 plus 8 gives us 17. This is the final answer. We go now to question C. For question C, we have 0.081 times 0.36 times 2560 all over 0.144 times 2.10 times 64. First, we know if we take the number 0.081 at the numerator, we can express it as 81 times 10 raised to the power 1, 2, 3, negative 3. We know this will simply be equal to, 81 is the same as 9 times 9 times 10. Here we need to express 10 as a product of two numbers, such that the two numbers are prime numbers. 10 will simply be the same as 2 times 5. Raise all this to the power negative 3. This will be equal to, we know 9 in index form is simply 3 squared times 3 squared times. Here we are going to expand 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. This will give us 3 raised to the power. We are going to add the powers 2 plus 2, 4 times 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. This will be equal to 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 3 raised to the power 4 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. The number 0.36, this is equal to 36 times 10 raised to the power 1 to negative 2. This is simply equal to, 36 is the same as 6 times 6 times, the prime factorization of 10 is simply 2 times 5. Raise all this to the power negative 2. This will simply be equal to, the prime factorization of 6 is simply 2 times 3 times 2 times 3 again for the second 6 times, we are going to expand here. This will give us 2 raised to the power negative 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 2. This will simply be equal to 2 times 2 times 2 raised to the power negative 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 2. This will simply give us 2 raised to the power. We are going to add the powers 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus negative 2 times 3 raised to the power 1 plus 1 times 5 raised to the power negative 2. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 1 plus 1 gives us 2 plus negative 2, it gives us 0 times 3 raised to the power 1 plus 1 gives us 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 2. This will simply be equal to, 2 raised to the power 0 is 1 times 3 raised to the power 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 2. We know if we take 1 times any number, it remains that number. But this will give us 3 raised to the power 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 2. We move now to the next number. We have 2560. We can express this as 256 times 10. We know this will simply be equal to, 256 is the same as 16 times 16 times 10. Here, the prime factorization of 10 is simply 2 times 5. This will be equal to, 16 in index form with the prime factor at the base is simply 2 raised to the power 4 times 2 raised to the power 4 times 2 times 5. But this will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 4 plus 4 plus 1 times 5, which is simply equal to 2 raised to the power 4 plus 4 gives 8 plus 1, 9 times 5. We go now to the numbers at the denominator. You can see them. The first one, you have 0.144. It was 0.144 is equal to 144 times 10 raised to the power 1, 2, 3, negative 3. This will simply be the same as, 144 is the same as 12 times 12 times 10 raised to the power negative 3. We know this is simply equal to, 12. We can write 12 as 3 times 4 times 3 times 4 times, the prime factorization of 10 is simply 2 times 5. We raise all this to the power negative 3. This will simply be equal to 3 times, we know 4, the prime factorization of 4 is simply 2 times 2, which is 2 squared, times 3 times 2 squared times, we are going to open up the bracket. We are going to obtain 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 2 times 2 raised to the power 2 times 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 3 times 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. And this will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 2 plus 2 plus negative 3 times 3 raised to the power 1 plus 1 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 2 plus 2 gives us 4. 4 plus negative 3 gives us 1 times 3 raised to the power 1 plus 1 gives us 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. And this will simply be equal to, 2 raised to the power 1 remains 2 times 3 raised to the power 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 3. We move now to the second number, which is 2.10 at the denominator. We can express this as 21 times 10 raised to the power 1 negative 1. This will give us, the prime factorization of 21 is simply 3 times 7 times, the prime factorization of 10 is simply 2 times 5. We raise this to the power negative 1. This will give us 3 times 7 times 2 raised to the power negative 1 times 5 raised to the power negative 1. And this will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power negative 1 times 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 1 times 7. We take now the next number, 64. 64 is the same as 8 times 8, which is simply equal to, 8 in index form is simply 2 raised to the power 3 times 2 raised to the power 3. 2 at the base is a prime number. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power 3 plus 3, which is simply equal to 2 raised to the power 6. 0.081 times 0.36 times 2560 all over 0.144 times 2.10 times 64 will simply be equal to, the number 0.081 is simply equal to 2 raised to the power negative 3 times 3 raised to the power 4 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 times 0.36 is simply equal to 3 squared times 5 raised to the power negative 2 times, we know 2560 is simply equal to 2 raised to the power 9 times 5 all over 0.144 is simply equal to 2 raised to the power 1 times 3 raised to the power 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 times 2.10 is simply 2 raised to the power negative 1 times 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 1 times 7 times 64 is simply 2 raised to the power 6. This will simply be equal to, let's simplify the numerator, 2 raised to the power negative 3. Let's bring the numbers with the same basis together first, times 2 raised to the power 9 times, we go to the next, 3 raised to the power 4 times 3 raised to the power 2, we go down to the next, times 5 raised to the power negative 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 2 times 5 all over 2 times 2 raised to the power negative 1 is times 2 raised to the power 6 times 3 raised to the power 2 times 3 times, we go to 5 raised to the power negative 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 1 times 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's always good to verify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will give us, we are going to add the powers here. 2 raised to the power negative 3 plus 9 plus the answer times 3 raised to the power 4 plus 2 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 plus negative 2 plus 1 all over 2 raised to the power 1 plus negative 1 plus 6 times 3 raised to the power 2 plus 1 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 plus negative 1 times 7. This will simply be equal to 2 raised to the power negative 3 plus 9 gives us 6 times 3 raised to the power 4 plus 2 gives us 6 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 plus negative 2 gives us negative 5. Negative 5 plus 1 gives us negative 4 all over 2 raised to the power 1 plus negative 1 gives 0. 0 plus 6 remains 6 times 3 raised to the power 2 plus 1 gives us 3 times 5 raised to the power negative 3 plus negative 1 gives us negative 4 times 7. See that 2 raised to the power 6 at the numerator will cancel 2 raised to the power 6 at the denominator. 5 raised to the power negative 4 at the numerator will cancel 5 raised to the power negative 4 at the denominator. This will simply be equal to 3 raised to the power 6 all over 3 raised to the power 3 times 7. We know we can send this up so that we simplify. This will give us 3 raised to the power 6 times 3 raised to the power negative 3. The power becomes negative. all over 7. And this will simply be equal to 3 raised to the power 6 plus negative 3 over 7, which is simply equal to 3 raised to the power 6 plus negative 3 is the same as 6 minus 3, which is 3 raised to the power 3 on 7. And this is our final answer. We are done with the solution of the questions. If in case you have any problems, make sure you leave your questions at the comment section. Please like the video, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching.